ये डेमो का प्रैक्टिकल कराएंगे तो प्रैक्टिकल।
हाँ ये लेक्चर है, रिविजन में रहेंगे। तो आगे धूप होती है ना, हम क्लास में बैठ जाते हैं, तो वैसे ठंड पड़ी है, तो लैब में यार ठंड लगती है।
ये मैडम मुझे क्यों कर पा रहे हैं?
I can see that the speaker of this session has already joined. So, Saurabh sir, am I audible to you?
Yes, Dr. Arvind, I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for joining the session and accepting our invitation. And yeah, is there any PPT also that you would like to share?
Yeah, just a second, I'll pull it out.
Now, as our speaker has joined here, so I would request now Dr. Ramesh Maksud, the organizer of this FDP, to kindly introduce Dr. Saurabh sir to the participants in a formal way. Thank you.
Thank you, Arvind sir, for giving me an opportunity to introduce such an illustrious speaker, Mr. Saurabh Gupta, on the behalf of Department of Biotechnology, Noida Institute of Engineering and Technology. Mr. Gupta leads Protera's food education, value-added processing and distribution investments in India. He has 18 years of experience in private equity investments, project financing and capital restructuring. Prior to Protera, Mr. Gupta served as a vice president for Black River Asset Management, a division of Cargill, where he focused on food sector investments. Mr. Gupta had earlier worked with ASK Property Investment Advisors, a real estate investment fund, where he actively assisted in raising $120 and Carval Investors, a division of Cargill. Carval invested $200 across 6 portfolio companies in the Indian real estate and hospitality sector. Before Carver, Mr. Gupta was a manager with ICICI Bank in the risk management group and the corporate and realty finance group. ICICI Bank had the largest real estate loan book amongst all the leaders in India. He started his career as management consultant and worked extensively in the field of capital structuring and project financing. Now I would like to welcome Mr. Saurabh Gupta and request him to deliver his talk on precision farming challenges and opportunities. Over to you, sir.
Thanks a lot, Ramesh. Thanks a lot for the kind introduction. And I would also like to extend my gratitude to Dr. Arvind Kumar and the Department of Biotechnology, Noida Institute of Engineering, for considering me as a guest faculty for the faculty development program titled Precision Agriculture and Nanotechnology, Making Agriculture Future Ready. Uh, as you have already covered my brief background, that I am currently working with Protera to tell you more, all of you more about Protera Investment Partners. Uh, I think it's a private equity fund which is based out of the US, and we focus on investments in natural resources. So my dear friends, when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to food, when it comes to metals and mining, doing sustainable agriculture investments, that's the focus of Protera. We are pretty much active in terms of investments in Asia, Latin America, Australia, and North America. I lead their India practice, where we are focusing in food and food processing segment, and of course, controlled environment agriculture. Uh, Over the last 12 years of my experience with the firm, Proterra Investment Partners, I have seen the whole food and food processing space evolving. The way the business used to be conducted, the way farming used to be managed is also witnessing a sea change. Uh, I I have been part of investments where we have seen dairy farming, poultry farming. We have done investments in banana plantation. So I am pretty much part of the this evolvence which is happening in the whole food supply chain. So I think we are at a very we are in very interesting times where we are looking at the next a decade, 2 decades, and we are on the cusp of transformation. Frankly, everyone, it's a very humbling experience for me to present a case study or to give a lecture. All of you are well experienced. You are pretty well informed and pretty much research driven when it comes to precision farming and its nuances. So it's my pleasure and it's a great humbling experience. Before I really jump into the topic, which is about precision farming, precision agriculture, its opportunities and challenges, I would like to set the stage by telling you something about the World Bank focus on food and nutrition and about the United Nations Development Program. So, World Bank in its letter, in its research report dated October of 21, have emphasized on the United Nations Development Program. The key points which have been emphasized have been is on the importance of healthy food and nutrition, as well as developing sustainable food system across the globe. World Bank also emphasized that agriculture is an important tool to eradicate extreme poverty, to increase uh, level of income for the people, and to provide quality and safe produce. This becomes really important because the world population, which is currently at 7.5 to 8 billion, or roughly 750 to 800 crores, it will rise to 970 crores by 2050. So the importance on developing the inclusive food production systems which provide healthy and nutritious food is very important. No one can doubt the importance of agriculture in global GDP. In 2018, it was found out that 4% of global GDP is contributed by agriculture. In few of the developing economies, the share of agriculture in that country's GDP has been registered as high as 25%. And of course, in 2016, there is an analysis, you can find it on World Bank website as well as UN website. Almost 65% of population in extreme poor countries was dependent on agriculture for their livelihood. So we can understand importance of agriculture, not only in terms of feeding people, but also in terms of elevating the people from below the poverty line and bring them and bring economic prosperity to them. Similarly, though agriculture is an important tool, but globally it has been realized it has got its own shares of challenges. It has got its own share of risk. First and foremost being impact of the erratic climatic conditions, impact of, I should say, the improper farm management system, which is resulting in depletion of natural resources, use of excess fertilizers, pesticides, which is not beneficial to human body. Similarly, because of that, quality and nutritious food is not available. As more, the world population is growing, but the area under agriculture has not been growing that steadily. So those are the challenges which World Bank, United Nations, and I think each and every nation has emphasized, and it is becoming more severe in the region where population concentration is high. So I think that's the context why we are talking about precision farming globally. And I think that's the topic of my presentation also. I would like to take you through about precision farming and especially in context to our portfolio company Simply Fresh, where we have invested 3 years back. So, so I would like to start my presentation. Let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. So starting with the definition, what is precision farming? I think it's an approach where we are using the inputs and we are using those inputs in the precise form to get higher than average yields compared to traditional cultivation. And it's not only about getting the higher average yields, but precise use of inputs of seeds, fertilizers, nutrients, and also the labor pool, so that there is an optimum utilization of these resources and we get higher yields. Further, precision farming is not only dependent on a knowledge which we have gathered over the years, which as a farmer, but it also means usage of the new technology, information and communication technology based farm management systems, which will help us in analyzing various factors that are going to impact farm level production and productivity. These factors can range from the right selection of seeds, the right selection of soil, the right selection of fertilizers, and also which crops performs well in which climatic regions and conditions. Also, precision farming, like I said, should help us out in terms of optimum utilization of our resources. We should use the right amount of water, right amount of fertilizers, optimizing our labor, all and getting the more productivity out of scarce land resources, which means we develop a healthy and sustainable way of agriculture, which is able to feed the growing population, but also we are able to attain economic efficiencies, optimum use of natural resources, and thereby contributing to higher profitability. It is very evident from the fact, if you see the precision farming operations across the globe, it can be applied to all the commercial crops, all the field crops, cereals, food grains, cash crops, and also to the horticulture crops. And precision farming techniques can be applied irrespective of the farm size, whether it is a country like India where you hardly get a farm size which is more than where the average farm holding is in the range of 1 to 2 hectares, or you can apply it in places like Australia, US, where you have farms which runs into hundreds and thousands of hectares. So I think that is the whole gambit of precision farming that all can be covered over here. I will not spend too much time on this slide why precision farming, but just to sum up my prologue, my preface, that as per World Bank, as per United Nations, the world population is growing. We are roughly around 750 to 800 crores globally in 2020, and we are projected to grow to 970 crores. You can see from the first graph on the top left, the majority of the population will be based out of Asia, followed by Africa, and then Latin America, North America, and Europe. So it's a problem. It's a good problem to have. Like I said, my focus has been in investments in Asia and Asia Pacific. So if you move to the second chart, it shows clearly that 55% of the world population by 2029 will be based out of Asia Pacific region, which means the whole of Indian subcontinent, India, Pakistan, New Zealand, Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Burma, then South Asia, moving to South Asia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, and of course China and the Greater Manila region will account for the largest population chunk, 55% by 2029. Of course, 22 of the world's 37 mega cities will be located in this region. Then you can imagine the kind of demand for food, the demand for feeding growing population will be there. If 22 mega cities are there in this region, then it's not only food, they are looking for nutrition, they are looking for value added product, they are looking for product which is above average. So this region holds the key for future development of our agri resources and getting the best out of it. Like I said, the increasing urbanization has led to a contraction of our available land area for agriculture. The graph is self-evident. We have picked it up from the FAO website. Over the last 60 to 100 years, we have seen gradual reduction in global agricultural land per hectare, which means whatever land resources are available with us in these regions have to be used to produce much more times the quantum of food to feed the growing population. Our problem doesn't end over here. Thanks to global warming, erratic climate changes, and increasing population, our freshwater resources are depleting very fast worldwide. The map is self-evident. So we have very less resources when it comes to potable drinking water as well as fresh water, which is required for farming. So you can say we are looking at a scenario 30 years down the line where we have to feed almost additional 150 to 200 crores, but we are running short on resources. So how to achieve it? I think that's the whole reason why the world is moving on innovative farming techniques. Precision farming is one of them. Few pundits or analysts are saying that precision farming can be treated as almost as a third wave of modern agricultural reforms. If we go back in time, almost 100 years back, there was the first revolution in agriculture, which was mechanization, mostly in the US and Europe, where large scale mechanization was achieved on large farms. It is told that every farmer at that point of time between 1900 to 1930 was feeding almost 26 people at that time, each farmer feeding 26 people. Second wave, almost every one of us know, we were party to it, which is called the Revolution. That was focused more on genetics, improved genetic modification, which lead to significant rise in production and productivity. And it is said that each farmer started feeding almost 156 people during the 1960s and 70s. And now we are in 2020, staring at 2050. Given the same resources, land, water, and climate constraints, each farmer is now supposed to feed almost 265 people. It's not only the rising population, but also the number of people who are moving out from farming as a profession. So that's another challenge, which is something can be addressed by way of getting not only into mechanization, but also into precision farming. Next slide. This is more in terms of Indian economy. What is the role of agriculture in Indian economy? So like I said, typically for any developing economy, India as a country derives almost 17 to 20% of its GDP from agriculture. The share has gone up in the last 2 years, I think because of contraction in manufacturing activity due to COVID.
तो मैं लास्ट टाइम आज बता रहा हूँ, ठीक है, एनवायरनमेंट की हम बात करें तो हमारे चारों तरफ का जो वातावरण है, दैट इज एनवायरनमेंट.
Hello. Yeah. So I think 55% of India's population is also dependent on agriculture, be it direct or indirect. What we have been looking at the changes, the way the whole Indian agriculture system is going for a revamp, the agriculture supply chain is evolving. We see a clear potential of almost 30 to $35 billion, which is roughly, if I have to put a number, somewhere between 20 to 35,000 crores of investment come in this whole supply chain. Where these investments are going to come is evident in the graph on the left-hand side. There are few disrupting agricultural technologies, creating online marketplaces for the farmers, traders, where they can come and directly transact on agricultural commodities. So you call that the AgTech world. You deal with again, online farmer support, farmer intervention programs, and also precision agriculture. Taking one step forward, we can talk about getting into highly technical farming, which is kind of vertical farming or controlled environment farming. It's already done in case of poultry, but now the time has come where we set up climate controlled greenhouses and polyhouses for growing various field crops, horticulture crops, and nutraceutical crops. And of course, the whole world is moving towards a new paradigm where they are moving away from animal protein, meats, eggs, and other animal-based products. And all these meats are being developed in the laboratories or in the plants, either through plant-based, either like an extract from soybean, or being cultured or being developed as a lab culture meat in laboratories. So I think Indian agriculture is again on a cusp of transformation, where you will see a lot of investment coming in, not only from government of India, but also from private investors, private corporations, to the tune of 20 to 30,000 crores, and this will help in transforming our game. I have captured the background of precision agriculture and how what kind of role it's going to play globally and in India. Now, I would like to take you through a company which is called Simply Fresh. This is based out of Hyderabad, and it's our portfolio company where we own a majority. I would like to take you through the philosophy why we invested in this company and what we have achieved in the last 3 years. Similarly, in subsequent slides, I will also take you through the landscape, which you can say is the landscape not only for Simply Fresh, but also for the companies which want to foray into precision farming space in India and globally. So starting with Simply Fresh, and Arvind, you can tell me wherever I'm going too fast or I have to take a pause in between for addressing questions from the audience.
It is going perfect, sir.
Okay, thank you. So Simply Fresh, like I said, is a company which has set up India's largest precision farming site. We in our world call it the plant factory, because the idea is to grow plants in at the site 24 into 7, 7 days a week and 365 days in a year. Our production should not get impacted by vagaries of monsoon, by extreme climatic conditions, be it summer, be it winter, or be it hailstorm. So that's why we call it the plant factory. The site is almost 140 acres. And as a part of phase one, we have developed almost 40 to 50 acres of this site. Of this 50 acres, 22 acres are poly houses, which are used to grow a lot of nutraceutical crops, medicinal herbs, aromatic plants, leafy greens, vine crops, and all these crops are used a technique called hydroponics, where it is a soilless cultivation, and the nutrients are fed to the plant through a stream of water, either using a NFT technique, which is nutrient film technology, or a ebb and flow method, or maybe using drip irrigation when we grow our crops in a grow bag or in a big pot, and we use, by the way, coco peat as a substrate, because no matter if you don't use soil, you need a medium where you need to place the seed, or it's like an embryo where you place the egg and the germination starts and the development of the plant starts. So it's a hydroponic technique, totally soilless, and using water as a means of fertigation. This is a climate controlled greenhouse to a great extent. I should say we are able to manage inside greenhouse environment almost 70 to 80%. And we try to create ambient growing conditions for a plant throughout a period of 12 months. This is achieved by way of maintaining the right temperature, wind circulation, as well as humidity inside the greenhouse. Our greenhouse are equipped with growing systems that includes benches, gutters, pots. Like I said, nothing is placed on the soil. Everything is elevated, grown above the soil, and the height can range from 1.5 feet to 3 feet, depending on the crop and its profile. And we use gutters, pots, and growing bags for production. We have an in-house enterprise resource ERP module, which helps in managing the whole greenhouse automation, fertigation, and helps in management in farm in the box, and helps in managing the life cycle of a crop. We call it farm in the box, and not only helps in managing fertigation, irrigation, but also it measures the plant's life cycle, optimizes the nutrient intake, and optimizes the plant growth. Why I say that precision farming has an edge over its other methods of farming? because whatever the crop is grown after thorough analysis. We call it, you guys are much more aware than I am. It's the process, it's called crop profiling. We secure seeds from reputed companies. In case the seeds are not available in the market through seed companies, then it has to come from open field cultivation, from lead growers, from progressive farmers. We do our phytosanitary checks at our in-house lab to check what is the health of that plant in terms of germination percentage, in terms of disease resistance, pest resistance, and after those quality checking parameters only, we come out with their nutrient recipe or the nutrient mix that has to be fed to the plants and use it for our crops for our commercial production. We are a zero pesticide produce company. We don't use any of the pesticide or a herbicide, insecticide, which is prohibited not only by INDGAP but also by global gap. Similarly, a lot of emphasis is given on using products like neem oil for prevention of pests and insects. And we also have an integrated pest management programs whereby we use novel ways of controlling pests like traps and sticky traps and pheromone traps to manage pest and insect problems. Our greenhouse are automated, like I said, driven by AI. We can control the retraction of roofs and opening of roofs and walls through a computer-driven program, which is FIAB. This all depends on external climatic conditions. What is the wind speed? What is the weather outside? What is the precipitation level? And what is the humidity level? There is a dedicated weather station which monitors our temperature, humidity, and exposure to light in kilojoules and everything, so that we have a fully automated system. And like I said, we focus on sustainable farming practices. Whatever water we feed to the plants is recycled back to our nutrient management system. So I should say almost in some cases 90% of the water is recycled back and fed to the plants again after balancing the nutrient deficiencies, if any. We are a zero discharge facility. Since we are agriculture, there is no discharge neither in terms of cultivation because the water is recycled. And when it comes to the pack house operations, we wash the produce, and that produce is basically, if washed, only contains cocoa peat and it's left out. So it's literally zero discharge. We use RO water, which means the water is neutralized, and so that we can maintain the right nutrient formula to be fed to the plant at various stages. And of course, which is missing over here is we have a man-made water body, almost 6 acres. It can store 10 crore liters of water, which is equivalent to our 3 to 4 months of peak water requirement for 22 acres. So totally sustainable farming operations. That's what SimplyFresh has to offer. We are very proud that SimplyFresh is a company which is operating out of India and not in a place like Europe and America, where you will find a lot of companies who are operating in this space and having the same features. So we are really proud of what we have created in the last 3 years, and we are pioneers in this space in the country. The slide in front of you just tells you the level of technology or the technology intervention that can be created when it comes to precision farming, especially greenhouse cultivation. There can be no technology where you can have a simple polyhouse, which is very prevalent in India. I call them the greenhouse setup to avail government subsidies. Nothing over there, just a steel structure, GI pipe structure with a polyfilm over there, and you walk inside, it's like a heat chamber. You can go to a next level of automation, which is low tech greenhouses, where you have poly tunnels, which are low in height and provide some kind of ventilation. Then there are shade houses. This is mostly used by the. Hello.
और तमन्ना, ये कौन सी क्लास के हैं? एक मिनट।
So there are shade houses which are used by almost all the seed companies in India for commercial cultivation of their commercial seeds. They also end up adding screens to it and wind breaks, rain shelter. So this is a low tech technology. Then there is a mid-tech technology and a high-tech technology where you can go for another level of automation, retraction of roofs. You have growing gutters. You have automatic fertigation, irrigation coming in. And of course, the top-notch class is that climate-controlled glass houses that are prevalent in Japan, Amsterdam, and North America, where you have to use a lot of heating because these are set up in cold countries. You have to use a lot of artificial lights. You have to infuse CO2 for photosynthesis. So those are the typical state of the art, the most sought after greenhouses. But I think not the right technology for India because a lot of not capital intensive, payback periods are higher, and we really don't have to incur that kind of money because we have got ample sunlight during the daytime, which is required for photosynthesis, and we can do away with top kind of greenhouses and can be somewhere between mid and high level of greenhouses. So that's how the global polyhouse industry is looking at, and this polyhouse technology is fastly moving towards precision farming by getting more and more automation and AI driven, IoT driven features in their way of cultivation. So the photograph in front of you is about the plant factory. The whole land is almost 140 acres. In fact, the land runs far beyond what you see over here. What we have constructed over here is 22 acres of polyhouses. If you see, this is the nursery, which is the propagation unit, or you can say the starting point of a plant life cycle. Nursery, next to nursery is a seeding and germination room, where we try to create a ambient. These are basically kind of a cold chamber with right humidity, so that we create the right environment for plant germination. Then once the germination happens, the things are moved to a nursery. We have a 6-acre dedicated pad. This is used for growing a lot of leafy green vegetables. These leafy green vegetables can be spinach, can be coriander, fenugreek, rocket, kale, lettuces, chives, basil, and so on and so forth. We have a 6-acre pad. This is used to grow wine crops. Wine crops can be tomatoes, heirloom tomatoes, beefsteak tomatoes, grape tomatoes, fruity peppers, block capsicums, colored capsicums, cucumbers, one bite cucumbers, and so on. Then, of course, we have a big 6 acres nutraceuticals pad. We are growing a lot of nutraceutical crops and medicinal crops over here, turmeric being one of them, ginger being the other. We have a big R&D and greenhouse pad. Like I said, few crops I need to do. We need to focus a lot on R&D, ashwagandha, shatavari, gotukola, brahmi, kalmeg. So these are the crops where we are doing some serious trials. Over here, you see RO, UV plant and nutrient dosing system. We should say this is the heart of the project because this is the place where you make the nutrient recipe and you pump it to the whole body, to the whole farm. So this to us is the heart of the project. The nutrient recipes are set over here in under the supervision of scientists as well as few chemists and physicists who are working with us. Then we have a standard HTLT room. Not last but not the least, a state of the art pack house. This pack house is certified by government body APIDA. We are one of those pack houses which are certified by APIDA for giving quarantine clearance for all the export produce. So I should say a self-sustained site for growing nutraceutical crops, medicinal crops, and fresh produces. We consider this as a factory and as an industrial township. So you can see that we have focused on ESG practices also. There is a nice cafeteria where all the staff, they have their meals. We serve 3 meals, and of course a staff dormitory where not only the farm labor supervisors also stay, but when we have delegates from IISR and other premium bodies, apex bodies, they also come stay over here. This was the main man-made water body I was speaking about, almost 6 acres in area, 10 crore liters capacity. So that's what is SimplyFresh, the plant factory. What I can speak confidently, like I told you the problem set that the world population is growing. The the urbanization is increasing, the food quality is coming down, land acreage is not there, optimum the natural resources are not there. So how a company which is into precision farming can help achieve world goals? We can pick up few leafy green crops. For me, those have the shortest crop cycle from right from seeding till harvest. These crop cycles ranges from, in my experience, ranges from 25 days to 75 days. So if I pick up a crop, let's say, which is midway, somewhere around 25 to 30 days, we are confident of taking almost 18 to 20 crop cycles in a year, given our production system. Simple. We have a nursery which houses the product for the first 15 days and the main growing greenhouse, which is the leafy greenhouse, for next 20 days. So over a period of 360 days, we can typically take out 18 to 20 crop cycles when it comes to lettuce, when it comes to spinach, when it comes to coriander, when it comes to parsley, chives, or any other thing. Proven fact, our yields are almost 15 to 20 times higher compared to any other form of cultivation. Water usage, we are recycling almost 80 to 90% of our water, and we know that we have a scope of increasing this. Since we are doing soilless cultivation, there is no question about any contamination of any heavy metals or prohibitive substances coming through soil. Plus, all the nutrients are fed through RO system, RO and UV treated water. So we feed plant only what it needs for its optimum growth. And that nutrient recipe is also different considering the age of the plant. If it is in nursery, if it is in germination stage, it's a different recipe for first 5 days. Post germination to nursery, it's a different recipe. And when in greenhouse, it's a different recipe. Our qualities, we don't have to speak about it, but our quality is certified by global accredited bodies. I will take you the kind of certifications which we have. Because of this quality, we are always certifications which we are able to give consistent produce throughout the year. Nutrition, I have always spoken, it's not only NPK, but it's not only the macronutrients which we look at, but also the micronutrients. Every nutrient mix, every recipe will have a mix of 16 to 20 micronutrients, and these are calculated on the basis of ppm, parts per million. That's how you decide the nutrient recipe. And of course, RH and relative humidity and pH have a very important role in plant growth and nutrition. So this is basically what exactly Simply Fresh or the precision farming operations compared to a plain vanilla hydroponics, organic farming, and traditional farming. Just talking about certifications, moment you are able to control end to end of your supply chain of a plant, right from getting the right seeding material, you know your media, your coco peat, it is totally free from prohibited substances. You control nutrient, you control your farm management and post harvest farm management, everything. You are in a comfortable category where all the global bodies are there to certify you for best practices. So these are the few practices right in front of you: Global Gap, HACCP, FSSAI, ISO, GMP, kosher, halal, apida, and of course the Quality Council of India certification. These certifications go a long way when it comes to the developed markets like Europe and North America and countries like Japan and South Korea. One cannot sell their agri produce in these geographies without having any of these certifications. I'm sure India is also on that same trajectory. Like FSSAI is compulsory for all the food products. Rest of the certifications will also get compulsory in the next couple of years. Or even if not compulsory in next 5 years, people will start paying credence to the fact that the food they are consuming has been cultivated using best practices and it is not going to harm their own bodies or harm the lives of their family members. So there will be a growing acceptance for these certifications and best agricultural practices going forward. So like I was telling you, what all crops we have been growing in precision farming, and we have been successful in few of those. I will take you through our hits and misses, our problems and challenges. Turmeric, we have been able to grow successfully. Now, where we are working on turmeric is to shorten the turmeric crop cycle, i.e., can we reduce turmeric crop cycle from 8 to 9 months from the compared to field to 6 months in greenhouse system? Second problem set, is it possible to get two turmeric crops in 1 year like you do for all other vegetables, horticulture? Answer is yes and no. So that's where the research is going on. Turmeric, by the way, we Indians consume in our life day in, day out. But the Western world has just realized its importance in last decade or so. They think they know that turmeric contains curcumin, which is the bioactive, or you also call it an alkaloid present in turmeric, is a means to prevent Alzheimer's, has got anti-carcinogenic properties, and of course it is anti-inflammatory. So you will be surprised the way curcumin tablets, the way curcumin shots or curcumin coffee and tea are gaining attraction in US and Western world. So our aim at Simply Fresh is not only to grow turmeric, not only to shorten turmeric's crop cycle, but also to increase the alkaloid level of bioactive, which is curcumin, so that we as a farmer get better realization. We as a farmer can get a better seed quality and genetics, which can be used by the farmer fraternity, and we can create a mark in global market. Same logic applies for ginger. Ginger is most popularly known for ginger ale drink, and ginger is used as for other medical and health supplements also. So we are growing ginger, same set of challenges. It's again a 9 to 12 month crop. Can we shorten the cycle? Can we increase the shelf life? Because it starts losing moisture or water level very fast once it is harvested. So that's where our teams are working on. Ashwagandha is a crop which is grown in dry and arid regions of Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan and other dry parts of the country. Can we grow something like ashwagandha in greenhouses, in coco peat, in our growing bags or in our growing pots without compromising on the yields and the withenoid level? Withenoid is the active compound which is there. And the other crops, Bacopa, I believe is Brahmi, Centella is Gotu Kola or Kutki. So Bacopa, Centella, Paprika, Kalmek, they have got a holy basin. These crops have got a very high demand coming on from companies like Amway, companies like Sami Labs, Arjuna, or you pick up any of the extractor which is into health supplements. So this is a huge demand. All these guys are looking for crops that is grown consistently over the years, over a 12-month frame, and which is clean from all prohibited substances. Not only clean, if it is clean, that means the extraction cost of bioalkaloids becomes very economical. So these are the things where we are working on. I like joining it, linking these crops to the title of our faculty development program. You guys are emphasizing on nanotechnology. So can any of these alkaloids, once extracted from a crop, can you go into nano formulations? I think answer is yes. Curcumin, you can go for a nano formulation where you prepare curcumin tablets and or curcumin capsules, which have got nano granules or nano size particles or granules, and these are, like I was telling you, selling like hotcakes in the US market for preventing cancer and Alzheimer's and everything. So each of these alkaloids, the ingredients which are there in front of our screen, can be used for extraction and then can be used for further extraction for getting into nanotechnology in your capsules, formulations, powders, and everything. So very apt. So a lot of research has to be done in-house in laboratory level. Then you need to do a lot of trials for commercial extraction. Then only I think we will be able to make a breakthrough. Of course, once you have a breakthrough, you can have your IP registered around these nano formulations also. And so I think the future is looking very bright for nanotechnology for all of these active ingredients. And I think Simply Fresh has taken the first step by trying to getting into precision farming of growing these crops and then eventually getting into extraction and formulations. Other crops which we are growing at our farms are oregano, parsley, tarragon, sage, thyme. I will not speak much about it. These crops can be grown in our growing system, can be sold as fresh crops as a fresh produce market, and can also be converted into dried form. Dried forms can be powder, flakes, anything. It can be stored in vacuum pack, can be exported out of the country. Very big market, huge market. Similarly, the world is going toward micro herbs and microgreens. Few pictures are there in front of you. Barley grass, wheat grass, pea shoots. Alfalfa is missing. Alfalfa is also very big time catching up. So you can use these as a garnishing for your salads, but you can also use these as a power pack boost for your daily micronutrient requirements. So very health effective. I call microgreens and micro herbs as preventive medication. These are the vine crops. I told you study the precision farming can grow any of these things. Ghost peppers, bird's eye chili. People also call ghost peppers as bhucholaki and northeast. These can be used for culinary purposes and it can be used for extraction. Capsaicin, zeaxanthin are the major extracts which come out of it. Similarly, blocky capsicum, cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, all of us are familiar to these crops, can be used for day-to-day cooking, for salads, for as a snacks also. Important category, fresh greens. Like I was telling, all these crops are 30 to 45 days. Farmers can make a lot of money. They can be assured about yields because most of the seeding material comes from reputed companies like Visquan, Monsanto, Syngenta. So they don't, the farmers don't have to worry about the yields, about the germination, about disease persistence. Good market in India as well as exports. Arugula, kale, celery, few of these crops can be sold in fresh form and few crops like kale, basil, chives can be sold in dried form also. Similarly, spinach powder, beetroot powder are the things which are in large demand by FMCG companies for their infant formulations, for their health drink formulations. And again, they are looking for a clean source where traceability is ensured and they have no doubt about the traceability of the produce. So I think these are the crops which we have been growing consistently and very successfully, and we have got a very good hold in the market. I will skip this slide more towards the commercials because by selling only vegetables, no, you will never be able to make more money. So you have to come out of, you have to think through innovations where you can have snack packs like these crops, many vegetables and anything to increase your profiles and margin. So what exactly is important not only for Simply Fresh, but also for any operations, quality assurance and quality control. Like I said, the first step in the life is buying certified seeds from accredited vendors. Few cases it is very simple for vine crops and leafy greens where there is a plethora of companies supplying these seeds. But when it comes to ashwagandha, ginger, turmeric, gotukola, bacopa, you find really hard to get to the. So, excuse me. Uh, can you guys hear? Yeah. So we can
Yes,
go
sir,
to.
you're audible.
Okay, so for medicinal crops, like I said, ashwagandha, shatavari, ginger, turmeric, there are no reputed seed companies supplying this seed material. Whatever research is being done at government institutions, that is also not satisfactory for commercial cultivation. So I think seed selection is the first important step for any operations. And based on seed selection and based on the trial crops you do, you have to create your own plant profiling. You have to understand the climatic conditions which have to be created for these crops. And you have to create own knowledge line. You can also say knowledge line is nothing but a package of practice that how a crop is supposed to be grown to get the optimum production and productivity. Similarly, this knowledge line or package of practice will also lead to developing your nutrition, irrigation recipes so that you can optimize your production. Uh, what we also need to do, since most of the crops are grown in soils, so we need to study the soil culture. We need to do a study that what are the macro micro elements are present over there in that soil. What are the biostimulants which are naturally present in that soil? So if you can replicate the same thing in your climatic conditions by not only using nutrient, but also using growth stimulators or elicitators and other things. So the soil sample analysis, water sample analysis also becomes very important when it comes to growing crops in hydroponics and precision farming cultivation. And of course, though we don't use any pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, which are prohibited, but we also have to be careful that whatever sprays are being used, like a neem oil, has to fall in the prescribed limits of MRL, which is maximum residue limit, and we follow the withholding period religiously for that particular spray. Since we are doing climate control greenhouse, there is less dependence on external conditions. So we need to have our own in-house biocontrol agents. We call it beneficial bacteria. This beneficial bacteria attracts the harmful pests and insects and consume them. So this is again a big area of operations for controlled environment agriculture for precision farming, which can be explored. So that's how this whole concept has been built out. We have been working. There are few pictures how our greenhouses look like. On the left hand side, you can see it's a polyhouse structure imported from Canada. On the right hand side is a nutrient management system, UV, which is a reverse osmosis plant as well as UV treated water. Then, of course, we have got the seeding machine and the germination room. Just imagine this is a factory where you are seeding your products daily and you are harvesting your products daily. So it's not manually possible to do a seeding for 1 acre every day and harvesting for 1 acre every day. So we try to get into automation as much as possible, mechanization as much as possible. So we have got a seeding machine, we have got a harvesting machine. This is how we manage life in the farm. The first picture is about a boom irrigation. Like I said, nursery, the plant profile is different. Whatever fertigation has to be given is given by way of sprays. So this is automatic boom, which moves back and forth and sideways also, irrigating all the crops in nursery. The Nutra crops and the vine crops follow the drip irrigation way of irrigation, where you have got drip lines coming in, you monitor. Typically, we don't go for flood irrigation or one flow or one time irrigation. We irrigate 3 times in a day, where we measure plant intake and we try not to go, let's say for a crop like turmeric, we won't go beyond 1.5 to 2 liters per day, and that too across three intervals. On the third picture, you have got a NFT growing system for leafy green crops. This is the most popular system for growing lettuces, for growing spinach, and crop in front of you is basil. So you will find a lot of literature. The whole fertigation is passed through a shallow stream of water, which is called nutrient film. That's why this is called nutrient film technique. The plant roots absorbs all the irrigation and that results in plant growth. The last picture is about the ebb and flow system, where there is a large tray. That tray is flooded with water, and in that flooded water you keep 1 liter pots or a seeding tray, and that absorbs as much as water it can. So each crop you have your different kind of production systems, but these production systems are flexible enough to move from one crop to another as the consumer demand is. Like I was telling you, heart of the project, the nutrient management system and the fertigation system, everything is from Netherlands. You manage the water flow, the fertigation, irrigation, the fogging systems. We have got humidity sensors inside the polyhouses, the radiation sensor, we call it the black plate, which not only studies the temperature in the air, but it also studies the surface temperature. So we have got radiation sensor as well as leaf temperature camera, so that we are sharp in terms of recording the climate data and take informed decision in terms of increasing or decreasing the light velocity, which eventually means either running your fogging systems or closing the shade nets. Of course, we need to have our own extraction units and dehydration units, but we are doing in third-party collaboration right now. The whole technology angle is very important when it comes to precision farming. AgTech is the heart of this thing. So you can see from the picture in front of you, there is a greenhouse where there is an external weather conditions, which is temperature, cloud cover, precipitation, or humidity. Inside greenhouse, you have the same thing, humidity as well as temperature. And how the plant performance, relative performance is there between the in-house environment and outside environment. All this has to be studied. This is studied through a system. Like I said, there is a black plate, there is a light camera, there are sensors to capture all these data. Based on these sensors, we have a predefined programs that when a ventilation fan is supposed to get started, when the roof is supposed to get retracted or open. So everything has to be controlled automatically. This is totally AI driven and ML driven. We are in first year of operations. As we learn more about the climate, as we get into more production days, our machine learning data will also get deeper.
Sorry for the interruption, but your voice is muted.
Sir, you got muted by mistake.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. So, what I was saying is technology is an important part. If you learn more from your day-to-day operations, which means more machine learning for your system, that machine learning will take you through the next level of automation based on your artificial intelligence. Your computer programs, your ERP will help you in taking more informed judgment in terms of managing the inside greenhouse environment. So this is the whole AgTech platform, where I should say more data you have, more good quality data you have, the more informed decision you can take. Next slide is nothing but the role of technology, not only in terms of farm management, but also in terms of managing the other aspects of business as well as farm. If you have a system driven thing, if you have an ERP, you can manage very well other inputs which are required, not only the seeds, not only fertilizers, but you can also very well ascertain the kind of labor which is required for manning those operations. Similarly, you can do a whole lot of production planning, considering demand which is there in the system for the next 3 to 6 months. You can define the floor stock level for your various inputs, your packaging material, your growing material, your consumables, and everything. And of course, the whole practice of farm management, quality control can also be embedded in your ERP. So as far as we are concerned, we look at our ERP FIAB as a central repository for all the horticulture practices, which is going to help us in terms of resource optimization and drive operational excellence. So I would like to take a pause over here. What I have spoken over the last 40 minutes or so is what exactly is the problem which we are looking at, how a company in India has taken a step in terms of finding a solution towards that problem or the challenge which is there with us. And what I would like to speak now is the landscape, the precision farming landscape, which will help us in terms of attaining our global goals, which is food security, sustainable food production systems, and healthy and nutritious food, as well as at the same point of time, looking at the goal of eliminating poverty and rising income level. So precision farmings can be undertaken in various manners, and there are various avenues. We can talk about a scenario which is called vertical farming. Why vertical farming? Because if you go to any large cosmopolitan city in India or globally, let's take up an example, Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, Kolkata, Hyderabad, or if you go to Far East, Singapore, Tokyo, if you go to the West, London, New York, California, land is super expensive. You cannot buy an acre of land. If you want to buy, you have to shell out fortune. If you invest in agricultural land, the return which you are going to make from growing crops will not justify that kind of investment. So the countries where land is scarce, which means it is most expensive, at the same time, those cities are most populous. Like I said, 22 of the 37 mega cities are in Southeast Asia, and these 22 cities will have the highest population density also. And these people are at a high level of income earning. They need quality produce. So what is the solution from them? If you ship a product to them, which is traveling, let's say 300 kilometers, 400 kilometers, we will end up incurring a lot of money in terms of logistics cost. We will end up losing almost 20 to 25% of our produce during the transit, because no matter you use a controlled atmosphere logistics or a cold chain, there will be some perishability. So eventually the product which will be yielded will not be up to the mark. So globally, people are thinking that vertical farming is the solution for providing healthy nutrition at affordable price in these megapolis. Vertical farming doesn't need a very high level of investment in land. It can be done in a small container. It can be done in any abandoned building, can be a warehouse, or it can be done using hydroponics, aquaponics, or aeroponics as a technique. The capital investment is low in terms of land. Of course, you have to invest in LED lights and heating and air cooling depending on the climate, but despite that, the investment will be low when compared to buying a large tract of land. So this trend is catching up very fast. There are few successful business models globally. In 2020, people were saying the vertical farming market is roughly $3 billion, and it is expected to more than double by 2025. And it is also said that 80% of the food demand in the urban areas for fresh produce, which is sustainably grown, available round the year, can be provided by vertical farming. So it's a trend which is fastly catching up. So very important landscape to study vertical farming, considering aquaponics, hydroponics, and aeroponics, which is nothing but, I say, as an extension of precision farming. So very important avenues for all of us. Then next comes is covered agriculture. The picture on left hand side is a place in Spain called Almeida. And this is nothing but field covers running into miles after miles after miles. I have witnessed the same phenomena in Mexico, where I have seen single largest covered agriculture site, which is spanning across almost 37 acres, or roughly you can say 15 hectares. And they were growing blueberries over there. Main advantage, they are not trying to play around with the nature. What they are providing is a big shade where they are optimizing the sunlight for the crops to grow. And the crops are grown mostly in hydroponics using pots or growing bag and using drip irrigation techniques. Very effective way of doing agriculture. And I think you can consistently get a produce for at least 270 to 300 days in a year, barring 1 or 2 months, which are either extreme rainfall or extreme heat in these countries, but very cost effective way of producing and getting quality produce. Like I said, no one stops you in terms of investing in terms of technology. It can be a no technology to a low tech greenhouse to a high tech greenhouse. It's up to you. And of course, this also conforms to the sustainable way of agriculture. You use rainwater, you use drip irrigation, you don't use soil, and you use all the fertilizers and IPM in prescribed limit. So very good way of doing, and the world is fastly adopting this. Not only Spain, Mexico, but countries like South Africa, South Africa, Australia, Kenya are following it in a big manner. By the way, you can say Simply Fresh is a one level up when it comes to covered agriculture. So these are the two important ways of cultivation, vertical farming and covered agriculture. At least that's how I am personally looking at it. And Protera is also looking at it in terms of making it as a big thesis for the future to come. What else can be done when it comes to precision farming? Biotechnology is an interesting area. Why? Because you have a potential to work on crops, medicinal crops or aromatic plants, so that not only you get more production per acre of land, but you have a task to increase the alkaloid level, the extractable alkaloids or bioactive compounds, which means we can reduce the processing cost, extraction cost, which means end product, the health supplements will be far much cheaper. We will be able to maintain quality parameters because no heavy metals. And of course, increase value for customers because they will be paying a economical price compared to what they are paying right now, which means health supplements will no longer remain a niche market. It will be available to the masses, not only globally, but also in India. One more element why biotechnology is an important, because government of India has put restrictions on getting these medicinal herbs from Himalayas, foothill of Himalayas, because earlier all the Ayurveda companies, they used to source these material from the forest terrains of Himalayas, and they were clearly exploiting the resources. There was no emphasis done on replanting this material so that it is available year after year, generation after generation. Now, Government of India, in line with United Nations, has come with, I think it's called uh, status listing, where they have prepared a list of rare and endangered medicinal herbs. So there is a potential for all of us to work with government institutions, pick up these rare and endangered herbs, look at the germplasm, make it more commercially viable, make it more steady to grow in not only in field but in greenhouse environment, in polyhouse environment, and at the same point of time looking at productivity and reducing the crop cycle. So I think biotechnology is a very good area where we can look for JVs with biotech companies, crop innovation companies, and I think this model is yet to be cracked. People have just started on a very small scale, but we have not seen the tip of the iceberg as of now. Moving from biotechnology, moment you are able to crack the code that what kind of seeding material is best used for hydroponics, for field cultivation, then the next challenge comes, can you make it commercially viable? Can we commercially multiply it? Not only for using for one particular company, what prevents you from getting into a nursery operations where you provide these saplings to the farmers, and then you enter into a buyback agreement. By the way, Ministry of Ayush and NMPB has already started these programs where they are providing saplings to the companies, and in turn they expect double the number of saplings at the end of crop cycle, so that they can supply it to the farmers. But again, it has been there in the policy document. It has been maybe implemented in some part of the country, but large scale implementation has not started. I think together with the public sector, together we raise awareness about medicinal plants, aromatic plants, herbs. There's a great market opportunity. And by the way, last year, Ms. Sitaraman in Agri Reforms, I think she has set aside almost 5,000 odd crores for medicinal plants. So I think both biotechnology and seed breeding companies, genetic companies, can have a greater say in this. This is, I think, potential JVs which can be explored are new trait development, high yield hybrid varieties, disease and pest resistance, abiotic stress tolerance, and tailoring plant type for high density planting and mechanical harvesting. So these are the areas where technocrats like you can play an important role. Another part which is clearly missing in this country, and I'm surprised, like I'm a chartered accountant. When I was growing up, I had very limited options, or maybe I was very myopic in terms of what can I do when it comes to the field of agriculture. There was not enough guidance, not only to me, but also my friends, my colleagues, ultimately, all of them ended up being engineers, technocrats, or few of them are doctors. Few of them have done their MBAs, but I think none of my friends have pursued a career in agriculture. Thankfully, due to Protera, my connection with Protera, my connection with Cargill, I got introduced to food and agriculture almost now 14 years back, and last 12 years I've been doing agriculture. I see this field has got an immense potential. Can we sum up our learnings? Can we set up training institutes? There are agricultural universities, no doubt. They have got fancy campuses, large campuses, but can their training programs, their vocational programs can be more focused on training the farmers? Before training the farmers, can they come out with the protocols, package of practices for growing crops, for managing large scale farming operations? How can an agripreneur, how can a farmer get into large scale cultivation? Maybe first of all, we have to get that second generation of farmers again interested in farming. Uh, Forget the employment opportunities which it throws out for a graduate, a fresh graduate, which is doing a BSc Agri or MSc Agri. So do we have those kind of protocols which are being taught in universities, where you learn package of practices, where you get on-field training, where you get hands-on experience, and you get uh, exposure to mechanization and automation. I have visited KVK Baramati. I have visited few other KVKs. They are doing phenomenal job, but I think we need more and more awareness and we need more and more marketing for these things. Similarly, there have to be proper courses, maybe at at initial level for training on agronomy, entomology, pathology, and of course, mechanical, electrical, and civil engineers who can manage these kind of automation and these kind of greenhouses. Similarly, you need courses for computer engineers, software engineers to not only manage the hardware and the fertigation systems, but also work around AI and ML to automate all these things. Further, I think very standard international student exchange program should be there where we impart practical training and we make our students, our scholars visit places like Malaysia, Indonesia, which are advanced in terms of mechanization compared to us. And of course, we can go to Australia, we can go to places like Europe. So this is how it is, and need to create a framework of all these leading agricultural universities, research institutions, can be Spice Research Institute, can be NMPB, so that we have a robust network where we are preparing, I should say, professionals who are ready for precision farming, because this is the next big play. We cannot ignore our underlying opportunities. We have to feed 970 crore people. We have scarce land resources, natural resources, and this is the only way to move forward. So I think those are my thoughts. And these are not only the thoughts, this is a very important investment thesis on which I am working. We have made our first investment into Simply Fresh in this country. And we would like to build more, because why only one Simply Fresh? There can be 10 more. One can be near Delhi, one can be near Mumbai, one can be near Bangalore, which is feeding the fresh produce, which is available at a very aggressive price, at a very competitive price, affordable price. And of course, we keep developing our heritage, which is Ayurveda, and we keep coming out with a long-term sustainable solutions for growing our medicinal crops. So I think that's what my understanding about precision agriculture is, and that's what it can play a role, not only as far as our country, our agriculture scenario is concerned, but it has an important role to play in global scenario as well. So Arvind, I will take a pause over here to you.
Thank you so much, sir, Saurabh sir. Yeah, thank you, sir, for such a nice presentation. Ramesh sir, just handing over to you in a moment. Let me just ask if there is any question from the participant. Okay, Saurabh sir, could you please throw some light on the fact that how do you see the precision technology transfer to the small farmers, whether they will be used this technology, whether they will be able to use such technology in their small farms, and will it be feasible that every farmer will be able to use such technology there,
I
or
have
what
no doubt.
concerns are there?
I have no doubt about it. Each and every farmer, irrespective of the farm sizing, can learn a lot from precision farming. Only thing is creating the right awareness, creating the right group, because like we have got farmer cooperatives, those farmer cooperatives can be reached. These farmer cooperatives have come a long way in terms of teaching our farmers about drip irrigation, about the right cultivation practices. So same thing can be spoken with them. We can talk to them about the crop rotation. We can talk to them about focusing 3 crops in a year, not only the Rabi and Kharif one, they should go for the cash crops in between. So that's how we can do. What kind of investments in automation they can make is still something which I am also thinking, because like I said, there is a program which government of India runs where they provide subsidy in terms of setting up the greenhouses, but really those greenhouses are successful, whether the farmers have really benefited from it is clearly a study to be done. But I think sharing with the farmers the on-site data in terms of climate, precipitation, humidity, soil profiling, there is a lot which we can study together and we can educate them and provide them the right inputs on the crop to be grown and the right seeding material. So there is no doubt we can work together with them.
Can we also count the number of such precision technologies which are ready to transfer to the farmers? Is there any path that we are seeking that okay, in a couple of years, such technology will be available to for the farmers to apply in their fields? Like you said, drip irrigation, and you named a few of such technologies which can be transferred to the farmers and about which the farmers could have been educated so that they could have got more benefit to their farms. So, is there any number of such technologies you have jotted down?
I don't have the numbers, but I can very well tell that the first and foremost technology is sharing of knowledge. So, like our farm, we have a big plan of setting up a training institute where we invite the nearby farmers, educate them the importance of precision farming, educate them the importance of medicinal crops, aromatic plants, and other short duration crops which they can grow in their climatic conditions. Of course, as a technology transfer, we will transfer the right seeding material, the right nutrient package, the right fertigation package. So these are the imminent things which we can think about. For the large scale farmers who have the wherewithal of investing money, they can invest in low tech greenhouses. Uh, they can be helped in terms of choosing the right technology so that they do not overspend money in the polyhouses and other infrastructure. Also, they are given a marketplace where they get an assurance that their produced will be bought and they get the right realization. So these are the things, few things which comes to my mind. Of course, I have not prepared a list how this will get transferred, but I think if we start working on it, there is a great potential.
Okay, sir. My next question you have already answered. All our participants are the faculties from different engineering institutes from the country, from all over the country. So, how they can start their journey in precision agriculture and how they can get the help from the Simply Fresh?
See, the title of your faculty development program is nanotechnology.
Yes.
So in which area all of any of your participants would like to take a deep dive? Are they looking to get into formulations? Whether they are looking for a combination of a drug which is coming from ashwagandha and curcumin, or they are looking for a formulation which is coming from a combination of Shatabdi and Safed mostly. So what part they are looking at, or they can get into extraction part, that which is the best technology for extracting active compounds from a crop. Is it a solvent based process? Is it a CO2 based extraction, or it is a some hydro based extraction? So those are again couple of options. Which technology is the best for extracting highest amount of alkaloids? Then the next part is getting into formulations which are bioavailable, means biosolubles. So I think there is a lot to be done when it comes to downstream, midstream to downstream. When it comes to upstream, the faculty over here can work with us in terms of programs, that how they will work on identifying the right gene pool, let's say for turmeric, which will give us highest yield in a period of 6 to 8 months. To throw you an example, when I seed one turmeric finger, which is almost 60 to 70 grams, our output has varied from 700 grams to 4.5 kilos. So how do you pick up the right seeding material which has got the right genetics? You do the fingerprinting to standardize your seeding material. You get the standard output at the end of 8 months. That's one part. Second, which are the active ingredients which play an active role in accumulation of curcumin? So can you do that molecular biology to study what kind of how can you increase the active compounds in turmeric? Last but not the least, farmer is getting, again this is debatable. Someone says that a farmer gets only one turmeric crop in 8 months, in 1 year. Few people say they get one turmeric crop in 2 years. So let's say if even if we are getting one crop in 8 months, can you get two turmeric crops in 1 year? Or to start with, can you get 1.5 turmeric crop in 1 year, which means three crops in 2 years? So this is towards the back end or upstream. So that's where again your the faculty, your research scholars over here, faculty can work on these aspects.
Okay, now I would like to hand over the session to Ramesh sir. Ramesh sir, could you please conclude the session? And
Yeah, I think so that no one is having any queries. So thank you so much, sir, for delivering such a beautiful talk and giving your vital time from your busy schedule to grace this session. And I'm very much thankful to all the participants for listening the session so patiently. And I'm very much thankful to Dr. Arvind sir as well for organizing this FDP and introducing this session that has provided us a great knowledge regarding the precision farming. Thank you so much, sir, once again.
So it's my pleasure. I'm very humbled to address an audience like all of you. So I think you all of you are doing a great job, and I would like to say that this line has got a good future. You need to motivate your students. You need to motivate your scholars to keep remain focused, and I think there will be a lot of opportunities for all of us, for scholars, and we should pay our utmost attention to it. And thank you very much to all of you for inviting me for this program.
Thank you so
thank
much,
you,
sir.
sir. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Bye. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Same to you, sir. Okay. Here we are at the end of session 2, and I would request again the participant to kindly join back at 2:45. I would say at least 10 to 15 minutes in advance to the beginning of session. So we will meet again at around 3 p.m. In the evening. So till then you can leave the meeting so that the overall time of the meeting should not exceed. Otherwise, it leads to the breakout there. So I would request all the participants to kindly leave the meeting and join back again at 2:45 p.m. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.